Hello everyone, myself Netra, studying in Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Bangalore. Today I'm going to discuss a topic, overview of object database concepts. First, let us go to introduction. Introduction to object database concepts. Object databases store data as objects rather than tables. Objects in object databases can contain both data and methods. Object-oriented programming languages like Java and C++ are often used with object databases. Next, benefits of object databases. Object databases provides better support for complex data structure. They allow for more natural modeling of real-world entities. Object databases can improve performance by reducing the need for data mapping. Next is difference between object databases and relational databases. Object databases support complex data types like arrays and sets, whereas relational database use tables and rows to store data. Object databases have more flexibility in defining relationships between objects. As you can see in the figure, object-oriented database is less improved, whereas object relational database is more improved. It depends on object-oriented database depends on object-oriented programming, whereas relational database depends on relational model and object-oriented database model. Next is object-oriented data modeling. Object-oriented data modeling involves defining classes and objects. Attributes and method can be associated with classes in object-oriented data modeling. Relationships between objects can be defined using inheritance and composition. Object query language, OQL. It is the standardized query language for object database. It allows for querying object based on their attributes and relationships. It supports complex queries involving multiple objects. Next, object oriental mapping, ORM. It is a technique for mapping objects to relational databases. It framework like entity framework automate the mapping process. They can also help bridge the gap between the object oriented programming and relational databases. Next, ACID properties in object databases. Object databases ensure data integrity through ACID properties. ACID stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. ACID properties help maintain data consistency and reliability in object databases. Next, Object Database Management Systems, ODBMS. ODBMS are specialized database management systems for storing and managing objects. Example for object database or database management system include DB4O, Object DB, and Object Store. ODBMS offer features like concurrency control, versionizing, and object caching. Next is persistent objects. Objects in object database are persistent, meaning they survive beyond program execution. Persistent objects can be modified and accessed across different sessions. Object databases handle the storage and retrieval of persistent objects transparently. Object identity and reference. Objects in object databases have unique identities that distinguish them for other objects. References in object databases like objects together to represent the relationship. Object identity and references help maintain data integrity and consistency. Next is object serialization. Object serialization is a process of converting objects into a format for storage or transmission. Object databases use serialization to store objects on disk or send them over a network. Serialization can help in preserving the state of objects between sessions. Next is object persistence. Object persistence is the ability of objects to outlive the program that created them. They manage object persistence by storing objects on disk or in memory. Persistent objects in object databases can be accessed and modified across different sessions. Next is object relational impedance mismatch. Object relational impedance mismatch refers to the mismatch between object-oriented data models and relational databases. Object databases help reduce the impedance mismatch by natively supporting object-oriented concept. Object relational mapping frameworks like ORM can also address the impedance mismatch. Next is inheritance in object databases. Object databases support inheritance, allowing object to inherit attributes and methods from parent classes. Inheritance in object databases enables code reuse and polymorphism. Object-oriented programming principles like encapsulation and abstraction are supported through inheritance in object databases. Next is relationships in object databases. Relationships in object databases define how objects are related to each other. Object databases support one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many relationships. Relationships in object databases can be navigated using object references. Next is object database security. Object databases enforce security measures to protect data from unauthorized access. Access control mechanisms like authentication and authorization are used in object databases. Encryption and data masking techniques are employed to secure sensitive data in object databases. Next is object database scalability. Object databases can scale horizontally by distributing data across multiple nodes. Sharding and replication are common techniques used to achieve scalability in object databases. Scalability in object databases ensure high availability and performance for large-scale applications. Next is object database indexing. Indexing in object databases improve query performance by enabling faster data retrieval. Indexes can be created on object attributes to speed up search operations. Object databases use indexing structures like B-trees and hash indexes to optimize query execution. Data consistency in object databases. Object databases maintain data consistency by enforcing constraint and validation. Transactions in object databases ensure that changes to objects are atomic and consistent. Data consistency guarantees that the database remains in a valid state at all times. Conclusion: object databases offer a powerful alternative to relational databases for storing complex data structures. By embracing object-oriented principles, object databases provide a more attentive way to model and manipulate data. Understanding object database concept is essential for developers looking to leverage the benefits of object-oriented data management.